Sometimes we get so caught up in the chase of all of the new releases that we forget that we already have our dream collection just sitting somewhere in our rooms. This video is going to be a little two-part series. When I first started making this kind of content where I'm just being more mindful and just bringing some awareness to perfume over consumerism, I knew that these two videos were going to be super important to make because I think in our unending chase for the perfect perfume, we forget that we already probably have those perfumes sitting in our collection. The perfumes that we've worn 1,000 times over and over and over again, the perfumes that we've made the most memories with, the perfumes that you take with you on vacations. There's a reason that you continue to grab for certain perfumes. In this part one of this little series, I'm going to tell you guys my tips and tricks for how to declutter and curate the perfect collection. None of this is going to require you to purchase absolutely anything. It's just going to require you to sit in front of what you already have and actually go through every single thing. Maybe a little bit of a tedious process, so obviously pick a day that you have a little bit of free time, an off day, or you can spread this out. This doesn't just all have to be done in one day. You can spread it out. Obviously, there's busy people out there, there's moms, you have responsibilities you have to tend for. So spread this out, take it step by step, and that is exactly how I'm going to format this video, is just a step-by-step guide on how, well, pretty much how I curated and decluttered my collection. You guys know, if you've been with me for a while, that I did many declutters. A lot of those declutters that I did were because I was moving, which didn't happen as we all know, but that actually taught me something super useful. When you go into your collection, think about it as if I were moving internationally, which perfumes would I actually take? That will really get you to only keep the perfumes you really love, because you're not just gonna take hundreds and hundreds of perfumes that mean nothing to you and you don't like and bring them over internationally. You really have to sit there and think about which ones you would actually travel with you. So that was actually something that really helped me. But even if you're not moving internationally, I think that's a really great question to ask yourself when you're going through your entire perfume collection. But we're gonna get a lot more in depth with how to do this and do it successfully, and do it so that you also just don't end up regretting any of the declutters that you make. Because curating your collection isn't always about adding something new. Sometimes it's just about rediscovering what you already have. For a lot of us, we already have what we love. There's a reason why it's sitting there in your shelf. Step number 1, take all of your perfumes out of wherever they are. If you have a shelving system, if you have an actual storage unit, I have like a little closed shelf type of situation. If you've seen my previous declutter videos, you would have seen it. I like to keep my perfumes out of the window, out of the light. That's just the best way to store them. Take them out of wherever you store your perfumes. Don't go about decluttering by just looking at your perfumes wherever they already are. If they're on a shelf somewhere, it may not make you want to get rid of anything because of just how it's displayed, and also the way that it's displayed sometimes kind of alters the reality of how much you actually have. Whereas when you actually take everything out and you lay it all out in front of you, you really get to see, and things start turning in your head like, I'm doing too much. When your perfumes are spread across different shelves, your brain doesn't register how much you actually have. Whereas when you see it all laid out, it hits different. This is actually how you go about decluttering your closets as well. I think it's the Marine Kondo method, where you take everything out, because when it's just there in your closet, it doesn't hit the same than when you actually physically take everything out and you actually have to go through every single piece. So it's kind of the same concept. You want to actually be face to face with everything all laid out in front of you, and not just all pretty and organized on shelves. Step number 2, this is how I always go about decluttering. It helped me so much when I first started doing this, when I had 400. It helps me even now that I have a much more curated collection. I don't do declutters nearly as much as I did now, but every time I do a declutter, this is always the next step that I make, and that is I group all of my perfumes, not necessarily by notes, just scent profiles. For me, the only note that I really kind of separate is vanilla, just because I have a lot of vanilla perfumes, because I really love that. So if you have a certain note that you really love, then maybe do that as a group, but don't sit there and try to like regroup every single note, because that's just a little too tedious. Go about it more so in scent profiles. So sweet perfumes, your sexy going out perfumes, fresh perfumes, your beachy summer perfumes. If you have any perfume that to you is like very season specific, group them in that way. This is so helpful, and it's a pivotal step of every single declutter that I do, because it helps me see all my vanillas. For example, I'm like, okay, my vanilla collection is getting out of hand. These all probably smell really similar to each other. Let's see what I can take out. And so it helps me narrow things down a lot better. You can actually see me do this in real time in some of my declutter videos. I just did one, I think like 2 months ago, so I'll post it right here if you want to see that, where I did this exact thing. You can see me kind of going through each category. Next up, separate them into what you really love, non-negotiable, this is staying, to maybe, and then to obvious no's. And the best way to do this is to not overthink it. When you pick up a bottle, immediately, what is your first response to that bottle? If it's like, yeah, like you have to think about it, then it's automatically a maybe. If you pick it up and automatically you're like, I don't need to think about this, I love it, it's a love. So that gets things moving really quickly. And when you see that your pile of maybes is pretty big, it helps you kind of realize that there's a reason why I'm having to second guess this. And as for the maybes, pick up each bottle and ask yourself, if this disappeared tomorrow, would I want to immediately replace it and go repurchase it? If the answer to that question is yes, then you can put it into the love pile. But if the answer to that question is no, then that may be something that you'd want to declutter. Next up is where I feel like a lot of people get stuck on, and that is ignore the price. I know this is really hard because these perfumes were money at one point, and that money was hours of your time and labor, whatever you do, your work. So it can be really hard to let go of something that cost you a pretty penny. But a $300 perfume deserves to leave your collection just as much as a $30 perfume does if you don't love it, because that money is already gone, and keeping that something that you don't really love doesn't just magically bring that money back to you. It doesn't recover the money is gone. But what it does do is it keeps reminding you of it every single time that you see it. It keeps reminding you of this negative feeling, like I spent so much money, this guilt, and you don't need that. And also, we're gonna get to this a little later on in the steps, but this $300 perfume still has some value to it, and it doesn't mean that you're just throwing it in the garbage and you're losing all of that money, because you can still get some money back for it. So try to just separate the guilt, as hard as it may be, from how much you spent on it. Try not to even think about how much you spent on it. Like I said, that money's already gone. If you don't love something, it doesn't matter whether it's $300 or $30. It's still the same. You don't love it. Step number 4, look at your duplicates. This doesn't just mean exact dupes, like they smell exactly the same. Obviously, if you have those, then you may want to get rid of some, because that's just ridiculous to have like a million of the same perfume, unless that's like all the perfumes that you have and that's all you love and it's completely fine with you. Sure, that's fine. But if you have like 300 perfumes and you have like 10 that are literally identical, you can part ways with some. A better way to go about reducing your duplicates is to ask yourself, which perfumes make me feel exactly the same? Which ones do I wear for the same type of occasions? And lastly, which ones compete for each other? If you're having decision fatigue between a couple fragrances, is that because they're too similar and you don't know which one to go for? That may be something that you'd want to cut down so that you can reduce that decision fatigue. Like if you own 10 vanilla perfumes, but whenever you want that vibe of sweet, warm vanilla, you only ever go for like this one specific perfume, then that may be a really big love for you and the rest are just redundant. Next step is give each perfume a purpose. Ask yourself, when do I actually wear this perfume? Like, what are your everyday go-to perfumes that you just wear on a casual day that you're doing nothing? What are your go-to work perfumes? What are your go-to sexy date night going out perfumes? Your vacation perfumes? Your fancy occasion wedding perfumes? And if you come across any perfume when you're just like, I don't know when I would ever wear this, then that may be something that you'd want to think about, because if you can't see yourself wearing it anywhere, then you probably don't need it. And this brings me on to the next step, which is very important, and that is think about your real life, not the fantasy one. We all have this imaginary version of ourselves. It's like, I'm gonna wear this when I'm in Bora Bora sipping a pina colada. But it's like, are you gonna do that realistically? Or I'm gonna wear this when I go to a ball. Have you ever been to Bora Bora, and have you ever been to a ball? No? Then you don't need it. That's just like your fantasy self talking, and you just have to be realistic with yourself. What does your life actually look like? And be realistic. If your life consists of work, time with the family, occasional date nights, or if you live in like a climate that's constantly cold, Do you really need a bunch of summery fragrances? Maybe not. It'd be nice to maybe own 1 or 2, but maybe you don't need like 10 tropical vacation perfumes if you're living in a climate that is just not suitable for that, and vice versa. Your collection should fit your lifestyle, not the life that you imagine you're gonna have one day, and maybe you will have that. I'm not like writing it off, but when you get to that point, then you can own those perfumes. But for now, you don't need all these perfumes. You don't need to be hanging on to all these perfumes. And also because maybe if you do get to that life at one point, those perfumes are probably going to be so expired, you're going to want to throw them out anyway. Next step, if you are someone that's really attached to your perfumes, and I know this may sound stupid to some people, like it's a perfume, why are you so attached to it? But some of us are. I literally am attached to some of my makeup because they bring me back to like a specific time period, and that definitely goes for perfumes. If I've worn it on a vacation, if I had a really good memory with it, whatever, it makes me not want to get rid of it, even if it's like a perfume that I know I'm probably never realistically gonna ever use again. I'm just so deeply connected. I feel like if I let go of that perfume, I'm letting go of a piece of myself. Like, it's that deep. So instead of forcing yourself to make this decision right away, I want you to put those maybe perfumes, those perfumes that you don't know what to do with, put them in a box and put them away for like 30 days. And if after all that time goes by, you never think about, oh, I want to wear that perfume. Where is this perfume? I haven't seen it in a while. Then that is valuable information. If you miss a certain perfume, you can bring it back because you never got rid of it. But if you didn't even think about it twice, then there's your answer. And next, let's bring some of that money back. Go on Mercari, Poshmark, Depop, eBay even. For me, what's worked the best on selling my perfumes has been Mercari. I don't know about the other apps. I feel like with the other apps, I mainly get clothing, but with Mercari is where I usually look at perfumes. Mercari and eBay, but I feel like eBay is more for discontinued stuff, and Mercari is just like everything. So for me, I use Mercari to list all my perfumes, but just list them. It doesn't take nearly as long as you think, and you can get some money back, which will make the whole process just a lot less guilt-ridden. And even if your bottles are like halfway used, you'd be surprised what people want to purchase. I've seen even completely empty bottles on Mercari that have actually sold, not just like they're just listed and nobody's buying them. No, I've seen I've seen actually cardboard boxes that have sold. I don't know what purpose those hold, but yeah, people will buy anything. So just list them and see, and you're probably gonna get some money back. And last step, which is the most important step, is you're gonna wanna set some ground rules before you buy again. This whole cycle that we just talked about can very easily spiral out of control again. If you don't change your buying habits, your collection will eventually just get to this point that you were overwhelmed with. It will get to that point again. And if you want a more in-depth video on this topic about how to just hold off on all the new releases, how to not get sucked into the hype of all the new stuff, then go and watch this video that I recently did, and that will help you to just kind of take a pause before you go and impulse buy. But if you don't want to watch that video, I'll give you the Cliff Notes version. Number 1, wait 30 days before a new release. Number 2, if you absolutely have to get something, you want to try it out, get just the travel size to test out first. If you really love it, after the travel size is done, you can go and get the big bottle. The big bottle will still be there after you finish the travel size. Next, buy because you actually really love the scent, not because it's trending and people are making you feel like you need to buy it. And lastly, do not buy another perfume that fills a role that you already have covered by another perfume. If you have your staple going out fragrances, don't buy another going out fragrance. And if you do, then go back into your collection and take something else out. Have this rule that if something comes in, something has to go out. Otherwise, we'll just come back to this cycle over and over and over again. So those are all of my little tips and tricks on how to curate the perfect collection, declutter what you don't really love, declutter your maybes, let go of the guilt. Decluttering is not getting rid of as many perfumes as you can. You have to think of it more so as it's about curating a collection where every bottle that you have has a reason to be there. It serves a purpose, it does something for you, you use it, you love it. When you look at it, when you open your shelves, whatever, you shouldn't feel overwhelmed by it, you should feel inspired. And my next follow-up video to this video will be how to actually love and use the fragrances that you already have, how to not fall victim to decision fatigue, which at this point shouldn't happen if you've watched this video. And if you've curated and decluttered your collection, you should be really inspired now by your collection. And in the next video, I'm basically gonna tell you how to just shop your collection, how to get the most out of your collection without having this need to chase something else. So that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if this helps you. Let me know if you take this step-by-step video and actually implement it into your collection. Let me know if you do declutter and how that goes for you, how you feel about your new collection. I would love to know. I would love if you guys actually implemented this. I think it will help a lot of people, and I know a lot of people have been resonating with just feeling super overwhelmed by these huge collections that they've accumulated, but it is not too late. You can change. You deserve to be happy with your collections. You spent a good amount of money. Perfume is super fun. We all love fragrance, but let's just remember why we loved it in the first place. It wasn't about the consuming of it. It was just about the love that we had for fragrance and how it makes you feel, the confidence that it gives you, the scent memories, and all of that. That's what it's all about. It's not about this massive collection that we see online. So yeah, let me know your thoughts on this video in the comments down below. But that is it for me today. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and turn post notifications on, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.